Guys, welcome. This is a new thing for me, actually. So this is what we are going to call Lee Photographies. I am Lee, also known as Mike, with Mike W Productions. If you guys do like this video and you want to see more, there is another channel called Mike W Productions, which I do a bunch of movie and TV show reviews, like The Bad Batch and WandaVision and things, mostly Disney shows, and some movies that are either Disney or non-Disney related, but that's neither here nor there. If you guys like this video, go ahead and jump over there and give that a try if you're into that kind of thing. Alright guys, so today we are learning how to develop film. Now, if you're new to developing film, that's fine, so am I. No one develops film really anymore, and those who do charge a lot of money. With that being said, that's okay, because we are here to teach you. Now, the links to these products that I'm using, such as the Patterson tank, and this came with it, are going to be a part of the description below. So if you're looking for a Patterson tank, go ahead and drop down there. As for a film camera, that's on you to find, because those are kind of hard to find. I shot this with a Rolleiflex, which is an older 50s, 60s plus camera. I believe it came out in the 40s and was more popularized in the 50s and 60s. That is 120 film. Now, most of you will be using these guys. Your typical old school 35 millimeter film, which you can develop if you decide to use this format. This is one of the most affordable and basic general type of film, is this size right here. This is an old Kodak. This is just your generic Kodak go and throw. You buy it for $5-10. You get maybe 30, maybe 40 shots out of it, I think you get, and then you take the roll out, you throw away the camera because it's no longer good, and then you get the film developed for like $10 back in the day. So this was this is at least 15 years old, maybe, give or take. This is colored film. You can do black and white. I did not develop this. This is so old that I was not doing film development. I just used it because it was an old roll of film that I had. The thing about these old rolls is they get a little bit warped. If you see that, that's a little bit of warpage. Is that an issue? Not really, because this is already developed. Most rolls of newer film won't warp as bad, and really all you have to do is do the old trick of putting it flat with a big heavy something like a book on top of it, and eventually you'll get rid of that warpage. Some of these old rolls will curve like this or curve like this at some points. Don't worry about it, just do that, let it sit there for a couple days, maybe a week or two, until it starts getting nice and flat. If you're using a flatbed scanner to convert these into digitals, then you really don't have to worry about that, because your compression is going to push this down, but that's for another video. So you have your basic 35 millimeter. The concept for the 35 and the good old 120 film here. This is 120. It is a medium format film here. This is a lot bigger, as you can see, comparatively. Each frame, this is one frame right here. It's about the same in length, but a little bit bigger, quite a lot bigger in the dimensions. So if you see that difference there, that is a pretty significant difference there. So what we are going to do is we are going to take this and I'm going to show you guys how to develop this type of roll. So let's jump into that now. All right guys, so here is our little roll here. This is a film clip roller for you. It does unclip with these little notches and these little notches, and you can set your diameters like that by just clicking it and moving it to these notches. The biggest one is your good old 120, and then your basic 35 millimeter is the smallest. Now if you look in here, you can probably see that there is a little, there we go, right there is a little ball bearing, and it will take that ball bearing with your film and help it move along. So let me show you with the good old trusted 35 millimeter. You can put that right here. This is older film, so you just got to be careful. Put that through there. It will slide and connect those little ball bearings that are there, and you want to slide these. Now you will do this in the dark if you were developing this by hand. You do not want to expose the film, so get used to doing this with either your eyes closed or in a bag. If you don't want to buy a film development bag, a film dark bag, then you can just do this in a dark room. I usually do this in my bathroom. This is already developed and, as you can see, exposed film, so it really doesn't matter that I'm doing this in the light, but you will do this in the dark because you don't want to expose your film to anything. Now this is a little bit of a problem here because this one's a little bit older and it kind of just wants to jump around, but that's okay. This is more so concept than actually developing the film. So you get it on the rolls, and you'll be doing this in the dark. So what you want to really do is get this little roll here. Since this is the regular 35 millimeter, you're going to have it here on the smallest setting. And what you're going to do is, when you're in the dark, you're going to feel for these edges here and just kind of, you don't want to put your hand too much on the actual film here because you're going to get fingerprint smudges and things. It won't really ruin the actual thing, but you might put a fingerprint on there that will be really hard to edit out. So in the dark, you will be kind of feeling for these two edges, and you'll feel these edges here, and you're going to want to kind of slide this in here as well. A lot of film will have a blank strip to help you set, so you're not really touching the exposures. Once you get that through, these little ball bearings will catch these little grids here, and all you have to do is kind of lead it in to the roller here. And this is already pre-cut, so there was a portion of this that was a lot bigger. So what you're going to do is you'll just keep doing this until all of your roll is set up, and then you're good. So once it gets set up, then you want to make sure that this last little bit gets all the way to the edge. And of course this is older film, so it wants to be a little bit persnickety. If you're dealing with older film, don't try and force it too much, but once these two pieces are right there, it should be pretty fine. And then you just want to make sure that this film isn't sticking out anywhere. Once you get this film set up all the way, and you get it to where it's all the way in, kind of like that. You get to put it in your Paterson tank. Now this is the tank. It comes, the lid comes right off. It's a sealable little tank here, and that just slides back on. That comes right off. There's this piece here, and this whole section here comes off as well. And what will end up happening is you got a little agitator here as well that can come off. You'll unscrew this thing, and you have the lid here, and then you have another little roller in here as well. That's pretty clean, actually. There is a little thing in there. Don't know if you can see that, but there's a little notch down there that'll help you. And then you have another roller here. If you're doing your basic 35mm, you can get 2 of these rolls on this spool, which in the dark, remember, always do this in the dark. You could do 2 rolls of your basic 35 or 1 roll of 120. You got this on your spool roller here, which just pops in and out, and it sits there. And that basically will rotate these things as well. There is a clip here, but I'm not going to put it on because I don't need to have that on right now. And then you just kind of drop it in to your Paterson tank. It'll go in like that. There's a little bump in here, so it kind of moves it up and down as you spin it around. You're going to put back on your tank topper here, and remember, you are always doing this in the dark. You want to find that notch, make sure that it is fully closed, and the only thing that's showing is this. You can put on your agitator into that hole, and then put on your topper, and now you are ready to turn back on the lights and start the development process. This is going to protect your film from any light exposure. You want to make sure of that because any light exposure to this film is going to overexpose it and basically just give you white streaks. So let's move on into the bathroom where I will show you how to develop your film.